This week's episode is on Embodying Christ. I'm Rachael Keefe, and this is Monday's Muse. The texts in the lectionary this week are really great in describing what it means to be the body of Christ. There's Paul's description in 1 Corinthians 12 about how we are all members of one body and that we need to work together for the body of Christ to have the most impact on the world around us. And that's a familiar passage, and most of us can get on board with that. But when you combine it with the gospel lesson, which is Jesus returning to Nazareth and reading from Isaiah, and then saying that he is the one who will fulfill those promises. And the promises, the behavior described is setting captives free, giving sight to the blind, proclaiming good news to the poor, announcing the year of God's favor, all good things. And I think sometimes we as the body of Christ today, we as the church today, forget that those are the very things we ought to be doing. We get caught up in thinking so many other things are much more important. But that good news to the poor, giving sight to those who are previously unable to see, good news, liberation, the end of oppression, and then embracing the year of God's favor. These are the things we ought to be about as the body of Christ in the world today. All the things that distract us, our arguments over right practice and right belief, matters far less than how we embody Christ out in the world. Paul tells us that we all have different gifts, and all those gifts are needed in the body of Christ today. So I invite you to think about, how do you use your gifts as part of the body of Christ? And do we together embody Christ in a way that makes a difference for our neighbors? Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.